Let's talk about evidence. Now, using a mix of primary, secondary, and field research sources that provide accurate, reliable, verifiable information typically add more quality to a research paper. Now, when we perform research, it is generally accepted that the primary sources are the most reliable sources of information because no one else has interpreted them for us. Or secondary sources then are the next most reliable source of information for research. Just like the telephone game, where a whisper word or phrase get passed around the circle. The further we get from the source information, the less reliable or accurate it becomes. Now, of course, some people might not understand or forgot what primary sources and secondary sources are. Well, primary sources are, as you know, the word primary means first. So this is type of the source refer to something that comes directly from the time period that we are researching. So it is just like, the first one, the most reliable, the most verifiable. No one is summarizing information in a primary sources. It is something that we can evaluate its original form without reading or hearing someone else's interpretation of the source, which is part of what makes it the most reliable source of information for our research. It's like, the part of it, For example, artifact, or which is like an ancient vase, originally documents like the Declaration of Independence, diaries, manuscripts, letter, and are more example of primary sources. An original play or text of a novel can also be primary source of information. While there are many different interpretations of Declaration of Independence, quoting it directly in a research present that the fact directly to our reader rather than relying on someone's interpretations of the document. Okay, so let's use an example that are more easy to understand. For example, let's say you watch a movie. So that movie have everything. It lasts like an hour long and all. That's the primary sources. It's originally coming from that. However, the secondary sources might be someone who reviewed the story. Let's say some people just can't afford to go to the theater, or just some people just miss the chance to go to the movie theater to watch the movie, so they might go at home, went home and watch the review films of it. The review films here are secondary sources because it is not the original play, original movie. It's just something that are review from. So it's not if it is the original something, then that is the primary sources. But if it is passed on to somebody else and they write it again, they review it, then it's a secondary sources. Now, secondary source, as I just have used in the example here, this term refers to any source that is written by a primary source by a person or an organization. Just like the root word second imply, it is one level removed from original source of information. Now, this is the most common source of information that we tend to find for research, even though it is slightly less reliable than primary sources. For example, an article written by scholarly expert on a topic and books that include summaries of information about a topic or both example of secondary source. So they are one person or organization interpretations of primary source of information. So primary source is the original thing of something, and secondary source are like the review version, the summary version of information about a topic that we are talking about. Field research. Well, this term refers to interview experiment done with people wherein the results are carefully recorded. Polls, survey, and other summaries of information about a given topic can be used as powerful supporting details for research writing. Statistic about a public opinion or personal experience with a topic can add another layer of quality information to a research paper provided that the process used to collect the information is performed using effective research practice. For example, the Center for Disease Control, CDC, provide many summaries of research it performed about topic, like how many people come down with flu each year, the effectiveness of a different type of treatment, and more. Alternatively, we could also poll, like ask question of a sample of people about a given topic, to use a percentage of response to support our idea and about our topic. Okay, so just remember that using a mix of primary, secondary, and field research source to provide accurate, reliable, verifiable information typically add more quality to research paper, and all these things are called evidence. So when we perform research, just remember that it's generally accepted that the primary sources are the most reliable source of information because no one else has interpreted them from us. And then coming next is secondary source, which is the most reliable source of which is the next most reliable source of information for research. So that's all about evidence. Thank you for coming and have a great day.